After my speech, my audience will know more about the symptoms and treatments of ADHD. ADHD is defined as being hyperactive, not being able to pay attention, having impulsive behavior, and according to the National Institute of Health, ADHD affects 3 to 5% of the United States population. It's usually classified in adults and children that have difficulty paying attention, being way too overactive, and acting without thinking. Most people with ADHD are very intelligent, but they have a harder time making the grades or being able to stay on task due to not being able to control their ADHD. Today we will talk about the symptoms and ways to diagnose it and treat it. The question is, what are symptoms of ADHD? How do you know you have ADHD? What are the signs to look for to go to the doctor and get some kind of help? According to the Diagnostic Manual of Mental Disorder, for a person to be diagnosed with ADHD, they must have the following symptoms: not being able to pay attention, losing interest in an activity quick, being too overactive, being too hyper, not knowing the difference between when to cut work to distinguish between work and play. People try but will find themselves falling off track too easy, especially when they're doing a project that takes a long time to complete, like homework or reading. A lot of people with ADHD can't read because they have to stay doing the same thing for a long period of time, and it's just very difficult with people to do that. For example, doing homework is a difficult task for people that suffer from ADHD. It might take a person twice as long to do their homework. So a lot of people, they just give up and their grades fail because of it. People with this disorder, the symptoms may differ from person to person. Some may have the impulsiveness. Some people may have not being able to pay attention for long periods of time. Some may need to listen to some kind of noise in the background in order to do their task. Some people need complete silence to do their stuff, so it just differs. Most kids that deal with ADHD deal with the impulsive behavior more than adults do. They have more behavioral problems just because adults have self-control as to where kids have not learned that yet, so it's hard for them to understand what they're doing. Most younger kids have a harder time controlling their outbursts, resulting in them getting in trouble more at school. They don't think before they act. Like I said, self-control is just something you learn over time. Most younger kids don't understand that. For example, like a child might be in a silent classroom and just feel the need to burst out for no reason, and they not even realize that they did it till they're in trouble for it. Now that you know the symptoms of it, I will now tell you about some treatments. There are several ways to treat and reduce the symptoms of ADHD. Many try medications. Your doctor might put you on some medication to try to calm you down or help you focus more. It may take more than one medication to really to work. My child is ADHD, and we've been on like 6 or 7 medications, and we still haven't found the right thing for him. So it's just kind of like a trial and error thing. You find what works. It may work for a while, then you need to switch or add something to it. Younger patients are usually advised to take some kind of behavioral therapy just because they have more impulsive behavior, so it's better for them to try to learn to control their behavior and we're actually in the process of doing that, so we'll see how that goes. I've heard a lot of good things about behavior therapy in kids. Some people say it works, some people say it don't. It just differs, like symptoms do. Today we have learned about the symptoms and treatment of ADHD. ADHD is a mental disorder that causes you to be overactive, not being able to pay attention. Symptoms vary in children and adults. Different children, it varies. Some children may have one symptom and not have the other. If you have any symptoms or you think that your child may have it, see a doctor and then you can get evaluated. There's certain steps and processes that you have to go through to be diagnosed with it. And with the proper help, many people and children live normal lives from ADHD. And I've got a chart here. You probably won't be able to see it because the glare from the phone and my iPad. But it's a chart about the symptoms. There's 51% of people have the type that you cannot pay attention. It's harder for them to pay attention. 43% have a combination of both, of being overly active and impulsive and not being able to pay attention, so they have both of them. And 4.7% just have the hyperactive impulsive. So I'm assuming that's probably more of the younger kids, because like I said, the more you age, you learn self-control. So I'm assuming that's probably your younger kids. So it's a good chart. They've got all kinds of stuff to look at. I've done a lot of research on it and read stuff that helps and doesn't help with children. So, thanks.